This is what women in India believes about tattooing is they can lose everything, but their tattoos are gonna be with them till they die. So it's something nobody can steal from them.
Hello, print friends, and welcome to the 49th episode of Pine Copper Lime, the internet's #1 printmaking podcast. I'm your host, Miranda Metcalf. I release weekly podcasts with people in the print world who are doing something a bit beyond the expected. So please subscribe on your podcast listening app of choice. You can also find Pine Copper Lime on Instagram and Facebook, and you can sign up for our monthly newsletter with print news from around the world, all at pinecopperlime.com. We also have a Patreon page, where, if you like Pine Copper Lime and you want to help keep it on the air, you can throw a few bucks our way each month and help make a difference. And print heroes making that difference include people like the great Catherine Polk. For those of you who don't already know Catherine, she is a remarkable lithographer and was featured on episode 28 of Pine Copper Lime. So, when you're done listening to this one, treat yourself by heading back in the archive and listening to Catherine's story. And speaking of funds, there is an extremely important fundraiser going on as I speak to help save the historical home of Doc's Thrash. Doc's was, among many other accomplishments, the first African-American to be hired at the fine print shop of Philadelphia and the co-inventor of the carborundum process. I'm actually going to be chatting with one of the coordinators from the project next week, more on that at the end of the hour, but I wanted to raise this at the top of the show to make sure everyone can follow the link in the show notes and help by donating or just by sharing to raise awareness about this project. My guest this week is Miriam. Miriam is a Spanish artist whose study of textiles got her an invitation to travel to India and learn traditional woodblock carving. She now travels the world with her woodblocks, using them as stencils for her hand-poked tattoo practice as well as her textile arts. We'll talk travels, adornment, the similarities between fabric and skin, and the surprising historical and contemporary connections between printmaking and tattoos. So, without further ado, sit back, relax, and prepare to learn how to leave your mark with Miriam. Hi Miriam, how's it going?
Hello, I'm pretty good here in Thailand. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, so you're a little bit stuck in Thailand, not that there's the worst place to be stuck, but you've been there a little longer than you planned to, hey?
Yeah, a little bit too much, I would say, because I plan to stay here for 3 weeks. Now I'm here almost for 3 months.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm in a good place to be, but also missing my country, I don't know, my work, my normal life.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I found your work, I think just through Instagram, because I love printmaking and I love tattoos. So I think the algorithm just knew to put you in front of me. And I would love it, though, if you could maybe tell everyone who you are and what it is you do when you're not in the post-COVID world of lockdowns and all of that, when you're at home in Barcelona.
Okay. Well, what I do is mostly tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
I work in a shop called Eclipse, and I used to live in Andalusia before, where I come from, and had a super big workshop of fabrics. So most of the time I'm printing fabrics and doing tattoos. Now I'm not much into fabrics because I had to close my workshop and I'm trying to set in a new one in Barcelona. But yeah, I continue slowly doing both together as much as I can.
And when you're doing fabrics, it's printing with woodblock as well, is that correct?
Yes, it's the only thing I do.
Yeah.
Mostly is woodblock. Yeah.
Yeah,
I learned
beautiful.
it in India and I practice it in Spain. Yeah.
Yeah. So, where did you grow up? And what was the role of art like in that part of your life? Were you always an artist as a kid? Was your family artistic?
I was born and raised in Andalusia, South Spain, and I belong to a skilled manual workers and artist family where my grandfather was a painter and carpenter in Granada, and my grandma was needlewoman. So I consider myself as an artisan as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Did you say your grandmother was like a needlewoman? Is that what you described? So was she like a seamstress or?
She was sewing clothes. That was she was doing. And yeah, I studied textile design. So I kind of follow her path. And then later, also with the wood, I had some connection, like my grandfather.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Yeah, so you have the carpenter and the seamstress, and so together, of
Y-
course, yeah, woodblock
Yeah,
on
it seems I have
textile.
some influence
I
from
would
my
say
from
so.
my family, but I didn't know in the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. So, how did you come to discover woodblock? Was that just during your trip to India? And how did you end up going there and finding it?
Well, I think because I started with this fabric design, but all I learned was mostly digital. I learned also the manual techniques, but mostly digital. And slowly, I discover myself like doing everything by hand, and I really don't know how. I end up doing printing with the blocks. I think I start because I started with lino cuts, but then I wanted to go to the roots of printing, and I discovered this technique in India. I met a woman in Paris who invited me to her house. She was Indian, and she took me to all these amazing factories of woodblock. I stayed there with the families, learning, and then I continue going year by year. And yeah, I completely fall in love with the process.
Beautiful. Yeah. So, how did you come to printmaking to begin with? You said you started with lino cuts. Where were you introduced to that?
It was not lino, but a kind of plastic material. I don't know the name in English. And I think because I'm, as I told you, I consider myself an artisan, I try always to do things with my hands and also work with natural materials is what I like. So it's a natural process I've been through, ending up working with these materials and with my hands. It makes me feel kind of free and independent.
Yeah. Do you think that's why you're drawn to work with natural materials? Is just that sense of kind of connection to tradition, or why do you think that is?
Yeah. Of course, it's like I always try to. It's like trying to understand traditions and searching for the roots in all I get involved is what took me there, I think.
So, when you were growing up in Spain, was there a connection to Spanish printmaking that you were aware of at all for you?
No, no. In Spain, I could say that Madrid and Barcelona were the places where I can grow in a professional way.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely is in India where I found myself and
Hmm.
kind of my mission. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Also traveling to Marruecos, North Africa, where
Hmm.
there are still lots of artisans and people living, making their lives from this, where I found a lot of inspiration.
It sounds like you have been drawn to making and doing things with your hands for a long time. And I'm wondering what it is about that process that you think spoke to you, that you knew you wanted to make your life around it.
All people that work in this kind of process, like artisan things, doing things with their hands, um, is something that comes super natural.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is an answer because
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't understand the question.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
No, I think it makes sense what you're saying because I was just kind of asking, why you were drawn to working with your hands and being an artisan. And I think that you definitely answered it is that it's just, it comes naturally. Like there are certain
It
people who are born with the desire to make and to work and to do so not on their computer, but to do so with their
yeah,
hands. Yeah.
yes. It's
Yeah.
something that just comes from inside. It's the way I can express myself. Yeah,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
something like that.
Yeah. So, how did you come to tattooing? When did you make the jump from doing woodcut for fabric to taking your woodcut blocks and putting them on bodies and making them into tattoos?
It happens also, like I told you, I end up doing things with my hands. I knew I like fabrics. I knew I like to work with natural materials, and then tattoo came because of a friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
We were kind of collaborating together with my fabrics and his tattoos.
Hmm.
Then he just gave me the idea, and now I I think like it's something it was for me. I don't know how to explain. Now I feel like wow, how it's like I understand all the things I did before to arrive to this point. Because
Hmm.
this is really something I really had to do, and it's quite connected because decoration applied to a cloth arose surely from the body ornamentation and from the
Hmm.
tattoo. So it's quite connected also in Berber tribes. They tattoo motifs from their carpets also.
Hmm.
So traditionally is kind of connected, which I didn't know. But tattoo just came to me. Yeah, now I think is something that it was meant to be.
Yeah. Yeah. That it was kind of like destiny that it found you, the
Yeah.
tattooing. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's super connected, both like fabric and skin. Now in my work, I
Hmm.
can't do one without another.
It's so interesting what you're saying about that connection between tattooing and patterning on fabric. I've never thought of it as being connected, but of course it is. It's all adornment, right? It's all people
Yes,
adding something to their physical bodies in order to express something to people who are seeing them.
yes,
That's so
yes,
interesting.
exactly.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
Also the use of natural materials.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I for fabrics I use kind of roots, leaves, the pigments, which are also used as medicinal plant.
Hmm.
And I find this super like interesting in Ayurvedic culture, and then I find like everything is connected in some way.
And the way that you do your tattoos, you don't use what we call a tattoo. I've heard that like you don't call it a tattoo gun anymore. That's yeah. So it's like you don't use a a tattoo machine. You do everything by hand. Is that
No,
right?
yes, yeah, it's like the traditional tattoo is. Yeah, the different ornament I compose to the final motifs are carved into small wooden blocks that I use as stamps on people's skin. And the stamps has infinite combinations. And
Yeah.
yeah, I do it by hand like women used to do.
That's so beautiful. I've had tattoos done both by hand and with a tattoo machine. The ones that I've had done by hand, it's such a more pleasant experience because it's quiet, and I love that. You
Mm-hmm.
don't get the kind of whine of the tattoo machine. You don't get the loud noise. It's just you and
Yes.
the artist, and it's just this, it's completely silent, and you just feel that like tap 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 of the needle. And it feels so much more connected.
Yes, exactly. You feel like closer to the person. I don't know why. Without this noise, maybe, or the machine in the middle, I feel more closer to the people is getting tattoo. Maybe they feel the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a different ritual.
Yeah. So you were making textiles first using woodblock,
Yes.
and then you made the jump to tattooing. Did you know right away that you wanted to use your woodcuts for the tattooing, or did you start tattooing without your woodcuts and then later bring those in?
No, no. It all start with the blocks. First with kind of a play, but then everybody start like asking me to get in tattoo, and I end up doing it also as my profession.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, it was also with the blogs, just because I was working with them. So yeah, the idea came, and I believe in it, and then it happens.
Yeah. So, what brought you to Thailand recently? Were you going to work? Were you going to learn?
I came for work, but in the end, I didn't. Yeah, it's a new place because I always travel to India every year, and then I decided to open a little bit more like my new places in Asia, and this one was one of the places I wanted to start working, but yeah, now I don't know anymore.
I hope that you don't have to stop traveling. I hope that none of us have to stop traveling after all of this. So, hopefully we'll get to continue to go places, but it's such a strange time for people who have been used to getting to travel the world kind of easily comparatively up until now.
Yeah, now I'm trying not to plan anymore, as I told you. It's
Yeah.
like, well, just day by day, and we will see. I hope I can keep traveling. I hope at least I can keep going to India, but if I can't, well, let's see.
Yeah. Yeah. I think day by day is a really good way of putting that. I think that's
Yeah,
how a lot of us
yes.
are living right now. I'd love it if you could talk a little bit about the actual manual process of tattooing, kind of how it compares to the process of making woodcuts. And do you see any similarities between making a mark onto someone's skin and making a mark onto cloth or onto actually carving the woodcut?
I think both have similarities,
Mm-hmm.
like they are something to beautify,
Mm-hmm.
can be your body or can be your house or whatever with the fabric. But the ritual of tattooing has something more special, I could say,
Mm-hmm.
because it can change like the human experience in a specific moment in your life.
Mm.
Because it's a ritual where you can express like kind of a part of your inner truth in that moment.
Do you think that that's true for you as the artist as well as the person who's getting the tattoo?
Yeah, it's more like I feel sometimes like a bridge
Mm-hmm.
to somebody to express whatever they want to express with their skin decoration. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm there to help them to express what they want to express.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. So, when people come to you for a tattoo, you said you have these woodcut blocks that you can arrange in a whole bunch of different ways. Do they know what they want when they come to you for a tattoo? Or once they arrive, do you and your client kind of figure it out together?
mostly of all the time we do it together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They see the blocks and they maybe fall in love with one or two symbols. They don't know why, but they feel attracted to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I I do the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I make the composition, I add, or yeah, sometimes they don't even know where to get tattoo.
Mm.
So that's what why we are all of us there to try to help them
Mm-hmm.
to get what they like. So most of the time we do it together. They come, we see the blocks, and it's almost every session an improvisation with the blocks.
Mm. So, how many blocks do you think you have that you draw from?
Wow, I don't know. I have a lot. I have three, four bags. Everybody, when we are traveling, they tell me, yeah, but you go, you don't need a machine. You go only with needles. And I said, no, no, no. I go with a tree on my back. I'm traveling with all my blocks, and it's very heavy, even
I
more than
bet.
your machines.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
bet.
this is something I have to figure out if I want to continue making blogs and continue traveling. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I have to choose some of them and then leave other at home. And yeah,
Yeah.
I have to think about this.
And those are all blocks that they're all blocks that you've carved yourself.
I'm learning year by year how
Mm.
to carve them. I go with the same man, my master, every
Mm-hmm.
year, and I sit down next to him. He start all the designs I give him, and he gave me some of them to start, some of them to finish them. I
Mm.
start with bigger ones, and then slowly, I'm doing smaller. But it's not it's something I don't think I'm gonna do because I don't have time. I do it only when I'm in India.
Right.
I would love to carve my blocks, but doing fabrics, doing tattoos, doing blocks, and then you also have to do nice pictures, and then the post, and then it's yeah, too
Yeah,
many
yeah.
things you have to
Yeah.
do. So yeah, I enjoy a lot learning the process, but maybe ahead, but not now. Uh,
Yeah.
they do there and I'm with them, yes,
Mm-hmm.
side by side.
Yeah. So, how did you find when you said that your woodblock master, the person who's teaching you in India, how did you find this
Hmm.
person?
The same way I find everything. I walk a lot, I ask a lot,
Uh
I
huh.
meet so many people. In the end, I made good friends that they are from India and help me every time.
Hmm.
And it was asking everybody and walking a lot
Yeah.
in Rajasthan. Yes.
Okay. I love that. Do you speak Hindi?
No,
No.
no, and not even understand. No, I speak
Yeah.
few words, but no. It's something I would like to learn, like you with Thai,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's quite difficult, and
Mm-hmm.
I need to find time.
And so, where is it that you travel to in India where you found the people doing the woodblock for textiles?
It's in Rajasthan. Yes, the tradition. Well, there are tradition in other parts in India, but I work in Rajasthan. It's small towns around city of Jaipur, and there are families dedicated to print. Generation
Mm.
after generation, yes, they learn and they live from printing. So
Mm.
all the town is dedicated to print.
Yeah. That sounds pretty incredible. I'm thinking just like a whole town that knows about
it's
the printmaking. Yeah.
it's amazing. It's amazing seeing all the fabrics lying on the floor, meters and meters, all natural dyed, um, different colors. Yeah,
Mm.
different. Yeah, super cool.
That's so beautiful. So, do you know where those fabrics go? Do they turn into clothes in India? Do they get exported to Paris? What happens?
Yes, they go everywhere.
Hmm.
They stayed in India, and they also go wild world.
Yeah.
But slowly is the same as tattooing is. Because of us, the printing making, you say,
Mm-hmm.
is arising, but it was about to disappear because young people don't want to work in the country with the fabrics anymore. They want to become doctors, or they want to
Mm.
have like new technologies jobs, and yeah, it's hard times for artisans.
Yeah, I think it's a bit unfortunate that there seems to be this attitude that people have where they think that because you do something with your hand, it can't be good, right? Like there's this idea of working with the hands and getting a craft doesn't have the same social status as being, as you said, like a doctor or a computer programmer
Yes.
or something like that.
Yeah, and also, yeah, they find that job very hard, and yeah, it's kind of hard. You have to, it's physical also. Have to
Mm-hmm.
stay in the sun, you have to work with the fabrics. I don't know.
It's really beautiful to hear you talk about this place in India that the whole town is printmaking and in terms of making these blocks, how beautiful.
Yes, and they
Yeah.
need like a lot of people to complete one process because
Mm.
one is washing, one is printing, one is dyeing. So it's not a thing that one family do everything. They need everyone. The other ones are carving the blocks, so it's a beautiful way of working. It's like a community, which I love.
Mm.
I got a lot of inspiration on the way they collaborate together.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that also is an interesting thing because when people think about art, they often think about art as, you know, one person, one kind of genius.
Exactly. Yes.
You know, it's like
Yes.
you're Michelangelo, you can do everything. You know, this kind of idea.
Yes.
But other places and other traditions, they really truly see it as a collaboration, which of course that's what it actually
Exactly.
is. Because even if you're one person making art, you've been taught by someone, or or someone has helped you when you didn't have any money and you were able to keep going because of them. It's any art making is collaboration, and it's just a strange
Yes.
kind of Western idea.
Yeah. True. I think supporting each other is super powerful. But now we miss that. That's why I told you I can't do everything. I wish I could collaborate with other people and make one thing, but one thing all together could be nice, but we are very individualistic.
Yeah, we like people really want that, like, this is me and I need my name on this and it belongs to me because I made
Yeah.
it. It's a completely different
Yes.
attitude other places, which is, I think, so much more beautiful and more accurate. You know, it's truer.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that I was curious about when it comes to the work that you do is about your images, because they are quite simple but really beautiful. and
Yes.
and I think that simple images are harder, you know, because there's nowhere to hide with a simple image. You know, if you're trying to make something beautiful and it's made of 6 lines or 7 lines and 3 dots, you don't have anything to hide under it. It just has to be kind of raw and simple. And I don't know if you could talk a little bit to that process, and if you feel that kind of pressure about the images you're making, or how do you know when a tattoo design is good?
Well, this is something I really like also of my work. Is like doing a lot with like doing much with less is
Mm-hmm.
well said. I have a big interest in the abstract and symbolic language shared by ancient cultures. It's not that all the symbols I have are symbols from Gujarat, Rajasthan, and also Berber tribes. So it's not my drawing, it's all borrowed from them, from rural settings. And all the symbols are related to nature, like seeds, animals, trees, and they have also religious symbols, and they are also like objects that they use in their day-to-day life. Is very simple. For them, is more the place and the moment, the place in your body and the moment where they get tattoo. The rest is all about representing their daily life. Also, they have caste symbols, so you can see where this person belongs, from which tribe or from which religion. You can also see if they are married. You can, yeah, also, this is also a thing I really like from fabrics in India too. If you study a little bit the fabric culture in some villages of Rajasthan, if you see the skirts of the woman, you can, if you understand the symbolism, you can see if they are married, if they are widow, which are their jobs, like if they collect flowers. It's also all the works related to country and village, and they speak through their tattoos and they speak through their clothes also. It's something I really like.
Well, that's such a beautiful illustration of that connection between the patterns on the clothes and the patterns on the skin. and how they kind of are interchangeable like that. That idea that you could express who you are with your tattoo. And I think that's something that we have, in Western countries where, of course, your tattoos express who you are, but it's almost more in an abstract way than what you're talking about, where it's this is what caste I am, this is my marital status, like this is very concrete facts about yourself that can be expressed through a tattoo. So that's so interesting. And so in India then, as you've experienced it, do people use wood blocks as a pattern for their tattoos? Is the way that you do as well?
No, they don't. No, but when I start tattooing, I start reading a lot about tribes and cultures of tattooing. And I realize in Borneo, they used to do the same. They cut the wood, carve the design on the wood, and make it a stencil. That's why I wanted to approach to Borneo like traditional tattoo. Now I'm very curious to know how they did before, because it's kind of similar idea. Maybe, I don't know, I have to go and figure out why I'm doing wooden blocks, and maybe I have some connection with Borneo and I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, your past life. Yeah, you
Yes.
Yeah. That's so interesting. So, one of the things that I think about when I see your tattoos is that I've read that traditional tattoos, the way we see them, so sort of, which borrow a lot from Japan, that traditional Japanese tattooing came from woodblock printmaking in Japan as well. It had that kind of same look. So this connection between woodblock and tattoos actually seems to be quite old, or at least so you know that, and you've experienced that yourself.
I didn't know anything about tattooing. No, this is like I discovered later that this way of making tattoos already exists. But for me, as I told you, it started like a game, printing people, my friends, with the blocks, and then tattooing them.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you're doing tattooing, do you have a favorite place to tattoo someone? Like that someone says like, oh, like I want the back of my hand, or I want my shoulder. Do you have some place that you get really excited about in terms of placement?
No, I don't have. But what I have is the opposite. I love all the parts of the body to tattoo. Everyone is like I don't know the word.
It's okay. Is it like it's like a new challenge or a new landscape?
Yeah, exactly. Challenge. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. But on the other hand, there are parts which is not that I don't like, but makes me very nervous, like neck or face, even hands sometimes. Yeah, because it's a bit difficult and it's a big responsibility to me. But I love to do anywhere. Yeah.
So when people come to get tattooed from you, when you're at Eclipse Tattoo in Barcelona, so you're not in this strange space we're all in right now, generally they know you and they know how you work with the wood blocks, and so they come in kind of wanting that process. Is that correct?
Yes, it's exactly like this. They come because they know how I work, but they also have a lot of questions because they feel like, but you choose the block, I choose the block. How do you work? How is the process? So I tell them, don't worry. send me something you really like, so I can understand what you are looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Then come and we chat and we end up doing something they like.
Yeah. How long does it usually take to tattoo someone? I'm sure that varies on how big the tattoo is, but does the whole process,
Yes,
like the talking and all of
it's
that, how long is
also
that?
depending on the place of the body. Also, it's not the same doing a tattoo on the arm, as I told you, on the neck is
Mm-hmm.
a bit difficult. And sometimes they come days before to get tattoo.
Hmm.
And if they live in Barcelona and we chat, they see the blogs. So they don't come nervous the first time without
Hmm.
seeing anything and without knowing anything. So most of them they come before, but when they come and see the blogs, almost all of them decide very fast and they
Hmm.
trust for the
Hmm.
rest of the process. We can be maybe 5 hours. I don't know. I can't
Hmm.
tell you like how long it takes because it depends on a lot of things, like placing the stamps on the body. Sometimes it takes more time than tattooing.
Yeah, having been tattooed a couple of times myself, I can speak to the fact that yeah, sometimes the placement can be twice as long as the actual like physical
Yes,
tattooing because
yes.
it's so important. It's so important. And but I know that, you know, speaking as a tattoo patron, it means so much to have an artist take that kind of time and that understanding that where this is going on your body, it's going to be forever.
Yeah.
And that's a big responsibility.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So sometimes what I do is one appointment in the morning, one in the evening,
Hmm.
and really trying to have time for that person because you never know what's going to happen, how long it's gonna take. I can't tell you. Yeah, 5 hours for one hand,
Mm.
maybe, but yeah, I can't really tell you how long it takes.
So as someone who it, you know, it doesn't sound like you sort of set out to be a tattoo artist. It sounds like it's something that kind of
Hmm.
just found you.
Yes.
So you maybe didn't grow up thinking that you were going to have this permanent effect on people's lives the way tattoo artists do.
No.
Um,
No.
is how do you kind of handle that sort of stress, I guess, about the fact that forever you're forever changing someone? Do you think about that? I'm sure you do.
Yeah, but because also I'm tattooed
Mm-hmm.
and I feel kind of the other way around. Like it's not stressful.
Mm.
Maybe in the beginning it was because you are learning and this is not a paper, it's not a
Mm.
fabric, you are learning
Mm-hmm.
on the skin and it's forever. So in the beginning, the stressful part was maybe the technique or the result, the end, no, the final
Mm-hmm.
result of the tattoo. But in the end, what I feel is that I make people happy. Like when I
Yeah.
get tattoo also, so it makes me feel more good than stressful.
Yeah, 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 I could see that. Yeah. Because, you know, like I said, someone like I have tattoos as well, and I always feel so good after getting a new tattoo. And I bet
Yeah.
that you probably feel that too as the artist, is it's this
Hmm.
mutual good feeling, like even with all the stress kind of leading up to the moment of it, of placement and everything, I'm sure when the person looks at the tattoo and is really happy, that must make you feel really good as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. In the end, I see that the people ends up super happy in the
Mm-hmm.
session. So it's kind of makes me feel the same for them.
Yeah.
Also, it makes me feel super good doing my work. So yeah, it's not stressful at all.
I really like hearing that because I think that there are very few jobs that people have that change someone's life forever every day. You know, like everything that they're doing, like as part of the job, they're changing someone's life. But
Yes.
it completely makes sense that you'd feel happy with your clients feeling happy. And I'm just really glad to hear that because I haven't thought about that before. But of course, that would be a huge part of kind of the roller coaster of tattooing would be the worry and the placement and getting it quite right, and then the making, and then at the end when everybody feels that kind of release of happiness when they see it, you can all share in that together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are also people that put some kind of intention in their tattoo,
Hmm.
and because they want to express something personal. So
Hmm.
I'm also happy to be there to help them with this kind of ritual or process of tattooing.
Yeah. Why do you think tattoos make people so happy? Because they definitely make me happy every time.
Wow, what a question. It also makes me happy.
Yeah.
I think there are different reasons
Mm.
also why
Mm-hmm.
people get tattoo. As we've been talking, like sometimes it's because they want to beautify their
Mm-hmm.
body, and of course, this makes people happy because you feel better with
Mm.
yourself. And even also, if you want to express something personal, like more ritualistic tattoo,
Mm-hmm.
or there are a lot of people who comes with personal reasons
Mm.
that they want to get tattoo. So it's like a way to pass through this personal moment,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
and they express it by the tattoo.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. That definitely makes sense because I know that one of the big things and the big reasons that people get tattoos is in memorial of someone who's died. I know that that's a really big one. And so this idea that it's a moment that you're trying to mark
Yeah,
somehow that
important moment.
yeah,
Hmm.
and it means a lot to you, and
Yeah.
you have a lot of really strong feelings either positively or negatively about it, and that a way to kind of express that is to get a tattoo about it because there
Hmm.
is that sense of, I think particularly when people are in the really deep part of grief, that they understand that that grief attaches them to the person who's gone, and but they also understand that the grief will fade, and that if they can kind of hold on to that, they can definitely do it through tattoo. I think is part of the reason people will do
Yes.
it. Yeah.
It's about marking something special on your skin forever.
Mm-hmm. I've always thought that part of the reason why I've loved getting tattoos and being tattooed is that it feels like this body that we came into the world with, it's just borrowed. you have to give it back to the earth at the end of everything.
Yes.
And it's almost a way of saying like I was here, this was mine for a little while, and I made this decision about it and I changed it in this way.
Yeah, true.
And
Yeah, and this is my story also in my skin. Then when
yeah.
I'm gone, the story also disappear with my body.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely been that sense of it is here as long as I am here. And that connection between the tattoo and one's ultimate mortality, one's ultimate death, is really interesting to me, because it is wed to you in this
Yes.
way.
This is what women in India believes about tattooing. Is something like they can lose everything, but their tattoos are gonna be with them till they die. So it's something nobody can steal from them.
That's such an interesting point. I've never thought about it that way, but it's so true. That you can buy yourself a fancy new MacBook or a house or a car, and all of that you can lose. But when you invest in tattoos, it's like, okay, this image is going to be my companion.
Yeah, forever.
Forever. Yeah. That's so interesting. I don't know if you've ever gotten to go to Australia or Tasmania, but there is a museum just outside of Hobart on an island called the Museum of Old and New Art. And one of the exhibitions there is just of a man called Tim, and it's his back tattoo. And he just sits in the museum and basically meditates for 8 hours a day while people come and see his tattoo. And when he dies, his skin is donated to the museum. And it's,
wow.
Isn't that interesting? Like, it's so
Yes.
I think I was in Hobart maybe. At one point, my husband and I were in Hobart. We went to Mona, and it's got all kinds of different art in it, but that living display of the tattoo was probably the most powerful piece there. And knowing that you're meant to just see it as this work of living art, and then this idea that it's going to live beyond the canvas is really interesting as well. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah. So if you come to Australia and Tasmania, you'll definitely have to go see it, because it's really quite interesting. This person. So
yeah, I would love to.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. Well, we're coming kind of about to the end of the hour recording mark, but I would love it if before we sign off, you could tell people where they can find your work, where they can see the blocks and the tattoos, and maybe look into getting work from you someday. Where can they find you online?
They can find me in Instagram. It's woodblock tattoo.
Beautiful.
Yes. Or they can come to Barcelona to Eclipse Tattoo
Yes.
shop.
Do you travel much for tattooing? Do you get to go to different tattoo conventions where people can find you, or do you mostly stay in Barcelona?
I mostly stay in Barcelona, but I travel also, not in conventions, but other shops.
Okay.
So yeah, I go Germany, Europe, and Asia. I was mostly in India, now Thailand, but who knows
Who
if
knows?
I'm gonna be able,
Right, you said.
if we all are gonna be able, to travel again.
Yeah, as you said, we're not making plans. You're not making plans right now.
No, not anymore.
Not anymore. Well, I would really, really like to thank you for joining me to have the conversation. It's been really beautiful to connect with you and hear a bit about your story. And thank you so much for just taking the time and for doing it in English. I wish I could speak Spanish as well as you spoke English. So.
Well, next time, I'm gonna improve my English. I promise. Next time we will do it. Yeah.
Well, I would
in
love it.
Better conditions.
Yeah, I would love it.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Really. Thanks.
It's been really, really beautiful to talk to you, and I really hope that we can meet sometime, whether it's in Thailand or Spain or wherever it is.
Me too. I would love to meet you.
Well, that's our show for this week. Make sure to join me next week when my guest will be Maya Thompson. Maya is a coordinator in that fundraiser to save Doc Thrash's home in Philadelphia. We'll talk about Doc's contributions to printmaking, the importance of preserving African American historical sites, and how Maya is going about raising the $100,000 to save this artist's house. And just a little bonus Easter egg announcement for those of you who have listened this far into the episode. Pine Copper Lime is also doing an exciting announcement next week, and perhaps an even more exciting giveaway. So believe me when you say, you won't want to miss it. This episode, like all episodes, was written and produced by me, Miranda Metcalf, with editing help from Timothy Pauschak and music by Joshua Weber. I'll see you next week.